Good evening to everybody. I hope you're doing well. Oh, my hair. Sorry. When I get on, I was like, oh, my hair. It's Pastor Mary. Good to be with you tonight or in the morning, because I know some of you watch in the morning. I hope your day has been good and productive. I hope you have been blessed by your work, your life, the people in your life. I had to go to the eye doctor today. I love my eye doctor. She's in Conyers, and I absolutely love her. And it was so nice when I was leaving. She said, "I look forward to when you come," and that made me feel really good because I look forward to being with her too. So my eyes are great. Some of you know I had a cataract in my right eye last year, so I got them out last fall, and my mom didn't get hers out till her 80s, so I was surprised that I got mine out when I did, but my doctor said that they seem to find that stuff earlier now because more people go to the doctor on a regular basis. So went really well. You know, it's those routine things we still have to do. Some of you know that I talk about plan A, plan B, and if plan A doesn't work, you have plan B, and if plan B doesn't work, you have plan C. So that's what's going on with my devotions tonight, because plan A was Pastor Holly from Epiphany Lutheran had a beautiful devotion last night. I listened to it after mine, and it really touched me, and it gave me a lot of hope to listen to her. But I had planned all day to go back and listen to it so I could share a few direct things she said, but I did not get around to that because I've been going through boxes, and I made, for me, one of my summer favorite meals, which was homemade chicken salad, and then a homemade dressing. And hey, Matthew, I love you. I love you. I'm so glad you're on tonight. It's good to see you. Well, I can't see you, but I'm glad you can see me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. And then I made a salad with homemade dressing and sugared almonds and tangerines in it. Some of you have probably had that before, and fruit salad. So that was dinner. And then I've been going through boxes. When we moved here back 6 years ago, we didn't have a whole lot of time to pack everything up, and so we just threw a lot of stuff into boxes. And so this time we have more time, so I'm cleaning through a number of boxes and going through stuff, and I'm amazed at what I find. So plan A was I was going to share more of what Pastor Holly, I'm not saying that quite right, I'm going to get it down, I promise. What she shared yesterday was really about hope, seeing hope in the midst of everything that's going on right now, and that was really encouraging to me. And she said about one of the things I really love, she said, that I'll share directly tomorrow night, is she said, I love seeing people of all colors, of all ages, of all stages that are, out together, supporting and working together for justice in this time. And she said it gives me hope. And it was really good for me to listen to her because I was feeling kind of hopeless last night, and listening to her really gave me inspiration and a lot of hope. And so I thank her for that. But I do plan to, I'll see if I can share her devotion on our page so you can hear all of it, but I want to share a little bit more of it tomorrow night. So that was plan A, and that didn't happen. So then plan B was I was cleaning through stuff, and I don't know, so I'm not a hoarder, but I like to keep cards my mom wrote me. I'm not gonna throw away any card my mom's written me. My mom's gone, and I love to look back at her notes. She always wrote newsy notes about things going on with the family and the farm, and my Aunt Betty, who, even though she's alive, she's really not able to communicate like she did before. So I went through stuff like that, but there's a lot of cards. I read them and I let them go. But I hang on to some things, and I hope one of these days, after I get moved and get settled, I can start doing scrapbooking again. And that's for anybody who would love to do a scrapbooking group. I would love to do one, or a card making group. I love those things. And I hope to finish Christopher's t-shirt quilt that I have started. I've put together all the panels and everything, but I haven't sewn it together. And I hope to make Samuel one too. So those are my hopes down the road. But so plan B was, I found this great article I had kept. It had inspired me, written by a pastor in Bloomington Normal, about what you should look for in a church. It was just so beautiful. And I found it and I set it out. And 15 minutes ago I looked for it and I can't find it. So plan C was something else I found. And I don't say this to be morbid, but what I'm going to do actually is read a devotion to you. And then I'm going to talk to you about something that's part of my plan C. So I'm actually going to read you the devotion for, it was actually Saturday, May 16th, and it was about peace. Hey Cheryl, hey Sheila, hey Bill and Kathy, hey Diane, there's a lot of you. I'm so glad you're on here. So I may have read it to you before, but I think it speaks to our time. So I want to read it again, and it's about peace. Jesus says, "My peace I give to you, I do not give to you as the world gives." Before Jesus' death, he gathered for a Passover meal with his disciples, washed their feet, and encouraged them to stand firm despite coming troubles. He promised to send the Holy Spirit to guide them, and he offered them peace unlike anything the world gives. During the season of Easter, we are encouraged by Jesus' resurrection. We know that because Jesus is risen, we can be too. We trust in that resurrection, and sometimes we doubt. The peace Jesus promised is not the fake peace of avoidance or the inauthentic peace of a pasted-on smile. This peace is deep and wide, echoing powerfully from Jesus' words to the disciples down to us. Genuine peace. And I love about that is not the fake peace of avoidance. There's a lot of things we'd like to avoid now, but we need to, I think, be open and willing to listen to each other and to talk to each other in this time. Jesus does not leave us alone in our fear or abandon us in our doubt. When we face challenges or hopelessness or grief, Jesus brings comfort. Peace be with you. In seasons of uncertainty in our lives, these words can reassure us and renew our confidence and faith. And the little prayer is, Jesus, in a world that needs to know your resurrection, let us hear your powerful voice of peace. Amen. And the prayer concern is for people facing mental health challenges. So that I was looking, I was like, that really speaks to me right now. I mean, and I know that a lot of you are going through some tough times. I know some of you are dealing with your own grief. I had a good conversation with a family member today who's dealing with her dad's issues. And we talked a little bit, and I said, and I'm going to get serious here, so please don't tune out, because I hope to end on a good note with this. But I said, a lot of people don't make plans for their death, and especially in our society. And my feeling about that, or my thought about that is that we're afraid to talk about it, and we avoid it. Like this is talking about the avoidance, of just avoiding the problems, the issues in the world and in life. And I said, I know a lot of people, and I have, who had plans but never followed through, never finished their will, never finished their funeral prep, or, what they wanted, never really made clear their wishes. And then, unfortunately, certain people get incapacitated and they're no longer able to say anything. One of my very closest, dearest friends in the world sent me a text. Today's Wednesday, I think it was Monday. Yeah, Monday morning, and said that her sister did not wake up, that she had died in her sleep on Sunday night. And this is the second person that I've known personally, that I've cared for, who has died this year, both women who did not wake up from their sleep. And I've been, staying in touch, because her mom is one of those most precious people in my lives. I consider her like another mom. Like, I instantly fell in love with her when I met her when I was in college with my friend Gayla. And I'm just concerned about them. I'm praying for them. And death is hard, and it's hard to have peace when we lose loved ones. And grief is natural because loving people means you will experience grief. You can't run around it. I say this all the time to people. There is no shortcut around grief. You cannot avoid it. You may stuff it in. You may act like everything's okay. You may pretend, but it's going to come out. And it's going to come out in ways that are not good for you if you don't face it and you don't deal with it. And so many of us experience grief in life. And I feel some grief in the things that have been happening in the world. And just the sorrow I feel that we're still seem to be stuck in this day and age. And I'm hopeful for the young people and the people who are trying to make a difference in a peaceful way, this peace, to change things so that when my grandchildren grow up someday, whether I know them or not, that they will live in a world where people are not judged by the color of their skin, but by who they are. And so anyway, but getting back to the grief part, so I have done a couple classes on writing your own obituary, and I know that sounds funny, or maybe you're like, oh, that's like just too much for me. But there is a real gift to your family, to your friends. If you are a single person or your family's gone, it's a real gift to be able to write your own and to say what you want to say in it. And you are the one that knows all the, the things like your jobs, the things you've done, and the things you want to say. And so often obituaries are just kind of this, very basic facts of, they preceded in death by this person, they were born in this place, they graduated high school in this year, they went to college, or they went to trade school, they married this person this year, they have these children and these grandchildren, and every once in a while I'll tell something about them, but a lot of them don't, and I think that's kind of sad because there's an opportunity there to say more about this person. So with these classes that I've taught about writing your own obituary, I found some really great ones. And I know you think that's funny, or maybe you think, well, what is wrong with you? But honestly, some really moving obituaries. And this one is actually, I didn't know this, James Robert Rebhorn. If any of you ever watched Guiding Light, not you men, but maybe some of you women, I loved Guiding Light. He was one of the evil characters on Guiding Light. He was really a nasty guy. I can't remember his character's name, but when I read this, I connected it to him. But surprisingly, it's just really, he wrote his own obituary years before he died, and I absolutely loved it. And I just got to read it to you because I think when you hear it, you will be moved by how he was so grateful for his life. So it goes, his life according to Jim. James Robert Rebhorn was born on September 1st, 1948 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His mother, Ardell Frances Rebhorn, née Hawk, loved him very much and supported all his dreams. She taught him the value of good manners and courtesy, and that hospitality is no small thing. His father, James Harry Rebhorn, was no less devoted to him. From him, Jim learned that there is no excuse for poor craftsmanship. A job well done rarely takes more or less time than a job poorly done. They gave him his faith and wisely encouraged him to stay in touch with God. He is survived by his sister, Janice Barbara Galbraith of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She was his friend, his confidant, and more often than either of them would like to admit, his bridge over troubled waters. He's also survived by his wife, Rebecca Fulton Lynn, and his two daughters, Emma Rebecca Rebhorn and Hannah Lynn Rebhorn. They anchored his life and gave him the freedom to live it. Without them, always at the center of his being, his life would have been little more than a vapor. I love that. Without them, always at the center of his life, of his being, his life would have been little more than a vapor. Rebecca loved him with all his flaws, and in her the concept of ceaseless love could find no better example. His children made him immensely proud. Their dedication to improving our species and making the world a better place gave him hope for the future. They deal with grief differently, and they should each manage it as they see fit. He hopes, however, that they will grieve his passing only as long as necessary. I love that. They have much good work to do, and they should get busy doing it. Time is flying by. His son-in-law, Ben, also survives him. Jim loved Ben, who was as a son to Jim, especially through these last months. His aunts Jean, Dorothy, and Florence, numerous cousins and their families, and many devoted friends also survived Jim. He loved them all, and he knows they loved him. Jim received his Bachelor's of Art at Wittenberg University, some of you may know that university, and his Master's of Fine Arts at Columbia. He was a member of Lambda Chi Alpha Nu Zeta 624, a lifelong Lutheran, and a longtime member of both the AMC and the ACLU. Jim was fortunate enough to earn his living doing what he loved. He was a professional actor. His unions were always there for him, and he will remain forever grateful for the benefits he gained as a result of the union struggle. Without his exceptional teachers and the representation of the best agents in the business, he wouldn't have had much of a career. He was a lucky man in every way. From March 2014. Well, that's one of them that I share, and there's several others that I find very moving, and there's some that are hilarious. They are so funny that you read them and you think, I wish I had known this person. I was sharing with someone yesterday that I've done all kinds of services. I've done, and I mean, all of them in some ways are sad, but some of them have been real celebrations of life. And one lady who I never really got to meet, she lived into her early 90s. She lived on her own. She had a sweet little dog. She got sick like a week to 10 days before she died. And she was gone really fast. But she had lived on her own independently, drove a car. She kind of reminds me of Miss Sarah from St. John. But when I did her funeral, sometimes I ask if the family says it's okay, does anybody have to share anything about you? And the stories told about her were so amazing. The man who ran the dog clipper place where she brought her dog stood up and said, when she called, we would rush to the phone and would love to talk to her because she would make anybody's day when you talked to her. And we looked forward to when she came in, and she always made us homemade cake or cupcakes, and she made our day every time we saw her. She worked for a big caterer in Atlanta until she was in her 80s, and she volunteered a lot at the Fernbank Museum, and the woman who helped create the Fernbank Museum came and talked about her. And when it was done, the organist of the church at the time was not able to be there. It was a weekday and afternoon, and so I asked my husband's organist if he would come and play. And after the funeral was over, he said to me, she sounds like she was one amazing woman. I wish I would have known her. What special words to say about someone you wish you had known them. I share all this to say, treasure life now. Enjoy every day. Give thanks and count your blessings, because life is short. Things happen. We are not always in charge or in control, and we kid ourselves a lot of time that we are. And we can be reminded at what's going on in our world, in our country, in our community. We can be reminded by family and friends who lose loved ones suddenly, and I've been through that. Some of you may have been through that. That it's really important to count every blessing every day, and to live the best life we can, and to plan for what is to come, because none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. I love this line. I wanted to share one more time from the obituary, where he says, They deal with grief differently, and they should each manage it as they see fit. He hopes, however, that they will grieve his passing only as long as necessary. They have much good work to do, and they should get busy doing it. I love that. I think that's what I would want. Going through these boxes and reading my mom's notes and my aunt's notes remind me of so many good days. Oh, okay. Cheryl says he was the abusive stepfather, Bradley Rains on Guiding Light. Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, he was really wicked. He was really awful. And thanks for saving me from a complete meltdown of crying. But I will say, I read these letters and oh my gosh, I got so many pictures. I've always been a picture taker, and I'm not going through every picture. I've been boxing them up, but when I have single pictures, I've been putting them together, and it's like, I realize how blessed my life has been, even with all the hard times, even with all the difficulties, even with all the struggles, even with all the nights of doubt and questioning and not sure. My life has been blessed by the people I've known, the people I've loved, the family that raised me, the friends that I have, the people that I serve. And really reading that devotion, what I really want, what I need to continue to work for is a peace that passes all understanding, not only for myself, but for our community and our world. And I think God is calling us in this time to just look at our lives and seek reconciliation and to work for justice and to count our blessings. Because even when we're in the midst of sadness, there is many blessings to count and things to give thanks for. And so today I give thanks for you. I give thanks for the many of you who tune in every day. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know how I'm going to be. You don't know what's going on. You don't know, well, do I want to hear this? But you show up, and it's really, it really has been encouraging to me. I never would have dreamed I'd do this, but Betty, if you're still on here, you're the reason I do this, because you're the one that got a hold of me right when everything shut down and said, well, have you thought about doing anything online? And I was like, no, but maybe I can. And I've learned so much, and there's so much I still don't know. But I look forward to this. I just wish I could see you all. I'd love to do a Zoom devotion one night. And if you think you'd be up for Zoom or learning about Zoom, or if if those of you who are part of the church will be on for the Zoom call for the Vote For Me this next Sunday. And I know some of you were on last Sunday, but if you'd ever be up for a Zoom devotion, let me know. We can do that. We could try that out, and that way we can see each other and hear each other and lift each other up in prayer. So remember to continue to share your prayers with me, both joys and sorrows. Let me know how you're doing. I will be praying for you. I keep you all in my prayers. I thank you for your prayers for me and for my family. I ask you to continue to pray for the world. I ask you to continue to pray for Susan Friend's brother Terry, who's been struggling. Good, Sandra. Yeah, I think a Zoom devotional would be fun. So we'll work towards that. Maybe we can do that next week. So I just tell you this, we're in transition. We're in the house we've lived in almost 6 years. We're going back and forth to our new house, taking things over. In fact, I'm leaving in a little bit. We're going to go paint. They're bringing, we're getting new, it's like a vinyl, but it looks like wood panel flooring upstairs in the boys' bedrooms upstairs. And they're coming Friday morning, so we've got to get the painting done. So we're going to do that tonight. So it's been really back and forth, working in church and church work and everyday life. And we hope to get moved over there by, let's say by the 17th, 18th. There may be a night where I'm not on, but I'll let you know that ahead of time. Yeah, Heather, it would be great to do Zoom. Then I'd get to see Matthew. I would love that. Get to see everybody. But Matthew is my special buddy. He's not quite 2 years old, and he's one of my special people in life. He makes me instantly happy when I see him. And I think he makes a lot of people instantly happy when they see him, because he's just a bundle of joy. And he's a big reminder of God's love every time I see him. So give him big kisses for me and tell him that Pastor Mary loves him. So, anyway, let's see how things go. Maybe let me just look at next week, and I'll share tomorrow night what I'm thinking. I'm going to see some people tomorrow anyway. We're working our task force. COVID-19 task force is meeting tomorrow at church to do some work of planning for when the time comes. And I don't know when that'll be. None of us know yet. We're waiting to see how things go with numbers and cases and things like that. So, I'll try to throw out a date or two tomorrow night, and then we can, I'll ask you to respond. And that doesn't obligate you. It just means that, you're looking at your calendar and tell me, okay, this might work. And we'll see if we can do a Zoom call together. So, okay. Well, thank you. Oh, boy, I've been all over the place tonight, haven't I? But the peace and living your life and counting your blessings and working for peace and justice and praying for each other and looking at the gift of life every day now as a blessing, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. I think it's really important. And I try to live my life that way, but there are days that doesn't go so well. But, so if you would, please join me in a word of prayer. Loving and gracious God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the blessings, those we count and those we don't even realize that are blessings to us. Give us the peace that passes all understanding. Give us the grace to share that peace with others. Give us the heart to listen and to be open, to learn from others, even when we might disagree, that you help us find a way to have peace in the midst of disagreement. Help us to work for justice in our world, in our land. Help us to always bring your good news of hope and love and grace and forgiveness to everyone we encounter. And as we go this night, dear God, we pray for those who are in mourning, those who are in grief. I lift up my friend Gayla and her whole family, her mom Betty, and all of her family at the loss of her sister Ginger this week. I just ask that you would watch over them and give them comfort in this very difficult time. I know that tomorrow will be Ginger's service at Graveside, and I just pray that you will hold them up and surround them with your love in this very difficult time. I also ask for prayers for Susan's brother Terry and all that's happening for him right now, and I pray that you would bring comfort and peace to Susan as well. I ask you to be with all those who might be dealing with difficult situations with parents or with family members. Give them hope even when it feels hopeless. Help us, Lord, every day to count on you and not on ourselves, but to lean on your love, on your hope, and help us through every day to just live fully for you. And for whatever else now is on our hearts tonight, dear God, we lift it to you and we entrust it all in your care. And we ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, dear friends, dear family, dear loved ones, it's always good to have you on. I wish you peace. I wish you hope. And I wish, especially for those of you who might be struggling, a real sense of God's comfort and love in this time. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. I pray that you have a blessed night and a good morning and a good day tomorrow. Take care.